Hello, everybody. Welcome to, editorial, what we like to call Tiswanwach, the people behind the social media, the articles, and the videos. So this is just a chill session with the editorial team. We'll basically just talk about, anything and everything. So the team is comprised of, guys, introduce yourselves.
I'm Farai, one of the writers on the blog. What else should I say, man? I write articles. I like gaming.
The man wears a do-rag, so yeah. That's more of what he
does. Pretty cool dude, but yeah, that's all I've got to say.
Let's not say pretty cool dude. The second coolest person at Techzim.
Who's the coolest person?
Snap.
Who's the coolest? Nah, there's no coolest person. It's just, everybody has to be the second coolest. So we just all sit on the same rank.
Is it my turn now?
Oh, yeah, it's your turn.
Have the guys finished arguing? I'm Shami. I'm the social media editor at Techzim.
Nice to meet you, Shami.
Hey, Shami.
Is this an AA meeting?
No, it's not. It's not. It's an editorial meeting. I'm Ed. I'm the guy that does pretty much the creative stuff. So if it's a flyer, if it's a video, if it's a competition, most likely I've done it. So yeah, that's me. I'm just the guy that creates stuff.
The magician.
The wizard.
That guy.
Yeah, that dude.
I don't know which one to pick. Monoyawe. Oh man, yeah, I'm that guy.
And lastly, your host of the least, Valentine, another writer of Techzim. I don't know how to describe myself. I think an excessive rambler, a conspirator or conspiracy theory fan. Yeah, I think that's about it.
Did you say conspiracy theory fan?
Yeah, I like conspiracy theories, man. The far-fetched is the best stuff.
What do you think about 5G and COVID-19?
It's possible. Really not. It's not possibly not connected.
Oh my word! And this is the guy writing news. Oh my word!
Gonna be chaos.
All right. So since this is the first foray into this, we should observe the rules of etiquette and go and let Shami go first. So Shami, spotlight. Do your thing. What's on your mind?
Wow. Like literally. Literally on the spot. Okay, so something I've actually been thinking about. I was reading comments on it the other day, and it's something I wanted to ask you guys, so I'm gonna ask you now. And the question was basically, this is so random, but as a newlywed, I'm gonna ask it. Should a woman kneel when she serves her husband dinner?
No.
I saw this on Twitter. You saw this on Twitter, right?
I think I saw this on Twitter as well, yeah.
I saw it on Facebook.
I'll be the first to say I am not married. Valentine, when you're editing this, you can post my number so that you know they can look for me. I'm not married, so my opinion doesn't count for much. But I don't think she should. I really don't. Yeah, that's for old-fashioned people, man. I'm not that guy.
Are you really not that guy? I thought you kind of seemed like that guy.
That I knew. No, that's excessive. That's excessive. What maybe from the thing in your house, what's happening? Are you kneeling? Because we might have to take some points away from you.
Oh, the person.
Nah, fam. You know what the thing is? No, but again, yeah, for me it's not how I was raised either. Like I come from a very liberal home. So that's not something I ever did. So I can't start doing it now because then it's kind of pretentious, like, okay, but you're not doing it because you want to do it. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's not something I ever did. But also, like you guys know, my husband is not traditional.
Yeah.
In his ethnic persuasion. so it wouldn't make sense. Like he wouldn't understand what I'm doing.
Yeah, you'd confuse the man.
Yeah. So no, and personally, I don't think it should be done. I think if you want to do it, it's fine, but not by force. You guys, the floor is hard. Like it's not even funny. I don't see the point.
No, I think it goes back to what you said. Like you said, I wasn't raised like that. I think that's where it goes back to. For people who are raised like that, I don't think it's anything that's necessarily like super hard to do. But if you didn't see it, I didn't see it. I didn't see it, so I don't think it's necessarily. I don't think that's how respect is shown. So I wouldn't feel a type of way. But this is me projecting. Like I said, I'm not a married man.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Because
I might have a child of heart when I get married, man. Who knows?
I was actually about to say that's a good dynamic you've brought to it, where you mentioned that, hey, is this something that is used as a sign of respect? Because now it's now diving into that whole scenario of will your man see it the same way, or will your man demand it in that way? They want you to kneel because to them it's like, hey, dude, I'm the man of the house. You have to. Or is it just plain, hey, yeah, I was raised seeing my mom and my sisters do this, comes natural. It's less of a respect thing and more of a cultural thing where, hey man, it's just in the culture for you to do things this way. Not saying you should, not saying means something specific like respect, but something that I'm just accustomed to because I grew up in it.
Okay.
What about Valentine? Valentine hasn't said something. This man is suspect. He wants to do
No. Okay, I'm legit of the opinion that I think even culturally, women are not second-class citizens. I think they're unique beings who should be treated with respect. I'm a hardcore liberal, so I believe that the cultural norms of kneeling and
hardcore liberal.
Yeah, man, hardcore liberal. I'm like,
that sounds like extremist. What does that mean? Hardcore.
Well, it's like I like.
Are you Antifa?
No, not Antifa. I wouldn't get that far. Well, okay. Let's not sidetrack. I'm gonna sidetrack for 2 seconds and say, the principles of Antifa, I think, are correct. Anti-fascism is a real thing. Like, fascism is just bad, but how it's been morphed these days, ain't about that. But going back to the point, nah, women shouldn't kneel. They shouldn't. I think we need to begin to the point. We need to get to the point where we begin to raise girl children in the sense that they do realize that they are an active member of society, that they're not a passenger. And I think cultural norms, and people might hate me for saying this, in this case are wrong. Because I'm not about that.
I don't think it's necessarily wrong. Eh? Like, I feel like, we're going to argue about this for a while. I feel like if someone is like, I think Shami or Ed said this, like, if someone is doing it because it comes naturally to them and that's their way of like gassing you up, for lack of a better term, that's their way of like, I don't want to say exalting because, that sounds like a deep term.
Isn't it exalting?
That's just the way of
I think it.
I don't think it's that deep. I think it's like someone calling you by your totem.
Exactly.
It's just stroking your ego, essentially. It's like stroking your ego. If the person wants to do it, why not? If they don't want to, cool. That's how I see it. Just it's a do you kind of thing.
Yeah, well, people 100%. Better discuss it before they get married then, because that will be an issue.
But I thought like in the dating phase, people kind of like hash some of these things out. You just jump in.
You be lying to each other in the dating phase. You're telling each other sweet nothings, it's all good, it's all that. Then when you're on lockdown, I'm
coming through with a contract to the first date.
Oh, yeah.
If you do not kneel at this restaurant, I'm out.
Take the food from the waiter's hands and kneel before me, and then I'll receive
why you let the waiter do it? Show your man some mistake. I'm joking, guys, so that this doesn't become one of those clips that someone like cuts off like 10 seconds and they're like, you heard what he said.
We're actually going to use this for a clip.
Exactly what he meant.
We're going to use this for a clip because that is the perfect way to capture the whole kneeling thing and misogyny in general.
All right.
You guys are going to throw me under the bus like this for views.
Views, man. For the views, for the clout.
Only doing it.
So I guess that's that.
All right. So we'll move on to the next, I'll call them unfortunate being. Obviously, it's going to be the second coolest person, Dolce Fari. You're next.
Why did you say obviously? How is it obviously going to be me? Am I mistaken like in everything? What's happening?
You must speak on everything. You have an opinion on everything, so you must speak on all matters. You next, man. What's on your mind?
Oh man, what's on my mind? It's weird after what we just talked about with Shami. It's like it's a dramatic turn, and now I feel like the community is gonna be like, damn, these nerds, man, the nerds are here. But my thoughts right now are on the are on the PS5 and the Xbox, man. What are we getting, guys? I think Ed did say he's gonna be getting a console this time around. I don't know Valentine. I'm certainly getting one. Shami, I don't know about you. Are you a gamer like that? Is your husband a gamer like that?
My husband is. I am not.
No, are you getting him a PS5 or an Xbox Series X? What's happening there?
Wait, how much do you think I have? Like what?
It's the thing to do though. Like
I think you have enough to buy a gift for your husband.
and Christmas.
No,
is coming
I'll
up.
give him something priceless. All my love. That's what I can afford.
That sounds like a cop out.
I'm actually not familiar with these things, guys. I don't even know what he has. I know it's a PlayStation, and I don't know.
So it's probably PS4. It's probably PS4 because that's the one that's on rotation right now.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
And it also means he is a man of immaculate taste.
Hold up.
I said that.
Hold up.
Yes, precisely.
Xbox over PlayStation.
So Valentine, you're going Xbox.
I'm going Xbox. Like I always wanted to get the Xbox One, but you know, Marie's a problem. But you know, I had the 360 and it was dope. The PS5, I like the PS5. I'm not like a guy who's like a hardcore Xbox fan, but I like Xbox. Like I think we talked about this before. For all of you who weren't there, or you were all not there. Ed and I were going back and forth, and I think the controller for the Xbox is like, it's amazing, man. It's like butter. It's like you don't get that fatigue in your hand when you're holding it. I think the PlayStation controller sometimes you get that cramp.
I definitely agree with that. The controller is better.
The controller is better. So if you could give me a PlayStation with an Xbox controller that could work somehow, then probably get a PS5. But at the moment, and the reason why I'm picking the Xbox Series X over the PS5 is Microsoft bought Bethesda, and Bethesda's got a bunch of games, and they're going to become exclusive, and then the back catalog for Xbox Pass as well is going to be really dope. So I think going into it exclusive wise, I think I'm gonna lean Xbox until proven otherwise, of course.
So I saw the Bethesda news, and it didn't move me because, them dudes have been making trash for a while now. What is it? Are they the guys? No, wait. Before I put that on record, are they the guys behind Fallout?
Yeah.
They've been making trash, man. They need to renew that engine. But I do hear your argument. Xbox 360 was great. Xbox One, I don't know, man. Ed, let's hear it from you, man.
I think, for me, it's definitely PlayStation all the way. I mean, that's where I started. I think it's literally the first, the lunchbox PS1, those square ones. Yeah, I had that, and it was fantastic. And from there, I couldn't afford any, so we still haven't got one yet, but but we're gonna get there. The controller issue, definitely Xbox has better controllers than PS. Not sure how the PS5 controller is going to feel like, but I don't know, like, if you talk about console gaming, it just has to be PlayStation. I mean, the other guy I would be looking at in that regard would probably be Nintendo. But yeah, like that's console gaming. With Xbox, I don't know. Xbox feels like a spin-off of like PC gaming. Like, hey, let's make PC gaming kind of even more exclusive. So yeah, we're gonna have this whole Xbox thing right over there. So because correct me if I'm wrong, but most of the Xbox titles are also available on PC as compared to most of like PlayStation titles. So because of that, I just feel like, hey, I'll just use my PC for the Xbox stuff, and then I'll use my PlayStation for the PlayStation stuff. So yeah, PS5 is cool. Looks like a spaceship or
like
a
a
router
router.
for those guys.
Like a router, man.
Yeah, I knew it. I knew there was one of those guys.
It looks like a Huawei or
But
a
like,
TP-Link, bro. I was just like, nah, the design is what's wrong with you guys? The PS4 was crazy. Like,
but
when I saw it, I was like, that's beautiful. That's legit beautiful. But I'm still doing I'm like, nah, bro.
well,
That ain't it.
The PS4 looks like trash. Well, I mean, maybe it's because now we're used to it, but it just looks boxy, man. It looks boxy.
Well, that's the aesthetic design, though. Like,
so boxy.
But it's cool. Like, I like the way it looks. Like, personally, I like the way the PS4 looks. It's subtle and in all the right things. The Xbox One kind of looks like, you know, them old school lunchboxes we had back in the day, the one with the divider in the middle, you know, with the semi-transparent top. Yeah, the Xbox One kind of looks like that, but PS4 looks like art, man. I was like, when I saw it, I'm like, that's the one. I won't buy you, though, but, you know, you look good.
But, you know, but I mean, like, speaking on, whilst we're on design, I really like the design of the Xbox Series X. I think probably because it's matte black, but yeah, the design of the Xbox Series X, I would love that. The aesthetic is fantastic. Probably my mind will be swayed if the PS5 is a matte black version, but oh man, like it looks beautiful. Even with those like green highlights on the top, on the top panels. So the way that it just shifts from it's just amazing. I like it. I like that design.
All right, so assume so far we said Shami is getting a man at PS5, Valentine is getting an Xbox Series X, Ed is getting a PS5. Of course, I am getting a PS5. I'm Sony through and through. No, I mean I'm on the fence. I might get something else, but if gun to my head, man, I'm going Sony. And for me, the reason is because the exclusives in the last generation, at least the time here, PS4 and Xbox One, the exclusives from Sony were just like mind blowing. We had Spider-Man, we had God of War, we had Ghost of Tsushima. We just had a bunch of games that Xbox guys didn't have, and these are like high quality games. So I feel like if you can't afford to go both, you might as well go where the better exclusives are. And for me, I think I'm pretty confident it's gonna be the Sony. So that's me.
Nah, but like the one thing Sony doesn't have is, you know, Halo. Like Halo is
Halo is 2003, man.
Halo's timeless. Halo's timeless, man. Halo is eternally timeless. Like that game is man. Halo, they will remaster that game a million times and I'll still be a fan. Like it is.
Did you see when they tried to when they brought out the Xbox One X mid-generation, it might have come out with the Halo, or it's either Halo or Gears of War. It didn't help the sales. They just not. But the new one is coming out with the new Halo game. There was some discord about that because people didn't like the graphics. So already there's bad news on that front. But I mean, it might be great. It might be. I thought it was great maybe around like 2005, 6 when I started gaming and I was a kid, and it was one of those things I couldn't have. It was like, oh man, Halo's the coolest thing, but it doesn't run on my PC. But now I don't know. I have doubts.
I think Halo holds its value for me particularly. I think it's one of those things. It was my introduction to gaming because I played it on the OG Xbox. So you know, your first is always the one that you remember the most. So Halo was the one that got me into shooters. So I was just like, you know what, this is the way. Although I did own a PS2, PS3, Xbox 360. I wanted the one, but you know, Mari. And then PS4, I was tempted. I'm actually tempted to get one now, even though it's now going beyond the generation, but just to experience.
Now it doesn't make it. Now it doesn't make any sense. You know why? Well, I would say it doesn't because the price is going to be so similar to the 5 when it comes out, and the 5 can run 4 games.
All right.
So you might as well stretch.
I'm thinking just for the catalog.
Sony should run me some funds for like marketing for them like this. But all right, man, that's my 10 minutes. I think I'm going over 10 minutes.
You're going to be a Sony influencer. Okay, wow. Right. So moving away from that, my man Ed, that guy, you're next.
How is it going, fellas? How'd it do?
You do good.
So yeah, well, my topic is a bit more personal because I don't know, I just love that sort of stuff. So in the sense of I would say it's more of a question of what made each of us decide, hey, there are these guys called Techzim. Let's just, send them an email or a call or a WhatsApp and be like, hey, can I be part of your team? Like, what was the journey? I mean, I guess I'll start with mine. Mine was a simple one. I was pretty much I had just finished my course, my telecoms course, and I was like, hey, why not just jump onto the scene and see what's out there? And I just bumped into Techzim on one of the forums. I think it was actually an article they did on Tel One, and I was like, hey, let me just send an email. Sent the craziest email. I did not think I would get a job because sorry about the chickens. I was not. I was not going to. I did not even expect to get a response because it was just the most outlandish email. If I'm brave enough, you might see it on this podcast in this section. But yeah, I got a response, and it was the interview was lit. I mean, we talked much less about the job and much more about, personalities. So it was lit. Like it was so crazy, and pretty much that's the long and short of it. That's how I got here. But as much as I thought my story was exciting, the stories of these fellas that I have with me are crazier than mine. So let's hear it.
I'm not going second this time.
All right. Fine. I'll go second. So my journey was pretty interesting because, again, it was one of those, shots from the halfway line. My email was like, it's pretty crazy. I think I showed more of my conspiracy theory side and more of my, niche crazy interest side. Because, well, I won't send it to Ed to show you guys, but what I will say is that it was delving more into how these big corporations are using stuff like the Alexa, the Google's Nest and all that to spy. So it was basically something I'd been researching on for a really long time and I was interested in. And one of the reasons why I don't want all these little devices I can record in the house, because, they'll sell that data to corporations and then I can just say one day, oh, right, there's a nice packet of Zapnex. And then I get a Zapnex ad the next day and I try to act shocked and then I think the walls are ears and stuff like that. So that's basically what my email ad and was just, just basically describing we should be more wary about technology. So it's kind of counterintuitive to come to quote unquote tech-based website being wary of some tech. The interview was crazy because it happened over the phone and again, like in that situation, it's more like personality, just who you are, what keeps you ticking, what do you enjoy, things you like doing, what you're gonna write about, the team, the kind of atmosphere that's there. So me, that's how I got in. And it's been an interesting ride. A very interesting ride.
So can I ask you something? Like, for you, what made you then actually email like Techzim in part of this researching about Alexa spying on us? And there I do agree with you. I think those guys are doing some funny stuff, but hey, I can't prove it. So.
Well, what made me apply was the question, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Like how did you discover like Techzim itself, and basically what did make it?
Well, I've been reading Techzim for a while actually. Back when I was in college, I was reading it because it was like the connection to Zim and the tech scene and startups and all that kind of stuff. So it kept me kind of abreast of what's going on in Zim on the tech side. I actually had applied to a bunch of different places because the writing I was used to was you get a topic, you take a month, and then you release a Bible of information about what it is, what it does, and all that kind of stuff. So I was used to the long, lengthy style articles. So, Techzim was one of the places I applied to because I thought, I have a tech side too. I enjoy tech. I enjoy all of this stuff. So why not just, give them a try? And, lucky for me, shot worked out.
From second to last, Fari. Okay. For me, I'd actually applied. You know, you guys almost lost a good thing. Honestly, I applied. I think for 2 posts prior.
Is this you gassing yourself up? Yo.
Imagine.
we almost missed out on you. What happened?
Yeah, I applied for 2. I don't even remember what the first one was, and then the second one was a presenter search or something that you guys were doing. I'm gonna find that file and destroy it. I have to, but I applied for that as well, and I didn't get it. And then I finally did. Last year. It's been a year, right?
Yeah, you celebrated your work anniversary like last month.
Yeah, so that's the one. Last year, basically. So what made me apply? I had been reading Techzim for a while as well, like from 2015-ish, 2014 maybe. And I was like, yeah, this looks like a cool place. Like, you know, you always want to. I'm just a bit eccentric, just a little bit. So, like, I always want to be around people who are the same. I'm not saying you guys are weird, but you're weird. So, like, it's always nice to be around people with personalities as well. I don't know if you guys know what I mean. Like, if you've worked at different places, sometimes it's like, it's tough when it's like, what's too much in this environment and what's okay. So I was like, I think I'd fit in here, you know, and that's what made me send an email through.
Yeah, please do explain to the people listening that it's not that we're like always swearing and then just doing what we want. There is some structure.
Not a lot.
Okay, but then why on earth would anyone assume that, Fari? Guilty conscience much?
All right, let's leave it.
I'm gonna come to your defense, but yay! Yeah, she pulled a big one. She pulled a big one.
That's cool.
But like,
cool.
so yeah, like, oh yeah, she does fit in a lot, and so I'm gonna make sure I save her presenter application video just before she deletes it, because people need to see it. I mean,
I haven't seen it.
It's in the public domain now.
I'm on the inside and I haven't seen it.
Oh man, it was lit. Like, that's why I need to keep it. In fact, I'm going into the place right now so that she doesn't know what place I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'm gonna download.
Make sure she doesn't sneak in and extract the evidence.
You know. But I'm also curious. So like, Valentine was saying that he's been reading Techzim for a while, even before he applied for the gig. Same with Shami. She mentioned 2014. Fatu, I don't know when exactly you started checking out Techzim. I'll just confess that I started knowing about Techzim the day that I applied. So there's that.
Not a glowing statement to say.
Sorry, Valentine.
I was saying Ed's statement was not very glowing. Like, how can you find out about a company the day? Don't you do like background just to check, you know?
Yeah, I did the background on the day.
Oh my god, that's not the way you do it. You do it before. Like, okay, hypothetical.
Like, what if you're applying to a cult, man?
That's what I was about to say.
Right?
No, the shot needs to be shot. I shot the shot.
Good.
It turned out not to be a cult, so cool.
You know, risks have rewards. You know, I mean, I've been at Techzim for this will be my 4th year, I think. So yeah, it paid off. So yeah.
Yeah, so speaking of reading, for me, I think I started reading it in 2014. At the time, I'm not going to say my age, but I was still in high school. And I wasn't like an avid reader, but I was just intrigued by the fact that there was a blog talking about tech in Zim. I was like, oh, this is new, because you know how access to information is in Zimbabwe. It's kind of crazy to find things, especially things that are on the niche side. Like, finding a demand for that probably means most people don't do that kind of thing. So I already knew of Techzim. And then how I got around to applying. So I was on a break. That was a few years later. Still not giving the exact years so that the people who calculate ages and whatnot don't calculate the fact that I'm just 22. So my best friend sends me a flyer, and he's like, "Yo, these guys are recruiting." And it was a random flyer. It said, I don't remember what it said, but it said, "Don't send us your CV," which was great because I hated making CVs, and I was on a break and I had to make CVs because I was looking for a job. So I'm like, "Oh damn, this company doesn't want a CV. I'm in." So I sent an email, not the longest email, I think one paragraph short. And I was like, "Yo, I read PC Mag, I read GSM Arena, some funny Western sites mostly. And I think I'll be able to do some reviews for you guys that are amazing." So the way I envisioned it was I would come in and be reviewing things. It didn't turn out that way because there's not much to review with Zim. But they hit me up. They're like, "Yeah, man, you sound like you're passionate. Come through for an interview. So what happens next?" I'm like, "Okay, where are you guys?" And they're like, "Nah, you have to figure that out." I'm like, "Oh, okay, I do. Okay, I'll figure it out." Wasn't hard to do. Turns out it was actually like a 15-minute walk from my place to the office. I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's cool." I never dressed formally. I went to that interview dressed formally AF. Like I was formal AF. I was really formal. I was anxious too. Got to the interview. So both my best friend and I applied. He did. So we actually went to the interview together. And he did his interview. Yeah, that was that. I got into mine. It was separate interviews. And then, like, I think this is where it gets a bit similar to Ed's in that it really wasn't about, because I had prepared like notes, like mental notes. So I'm like, "Yo, this is what I'm going to bring to the team, A, B, C, and D." And then it just turned out it was really more of like a personality test where they were trying to figure out what was going on with me, what was going on in my head, the books I was reading. At the time, I was reading an amazingly interesting book. I forgot the name, but we'll put the name in the video podcast. And I told them about this book, and it took them by surprise because the book is kind of crazy. It had like, I think, talking condoms, something like that. It was crazy.
Wow.
So
Wow.
it piqued their interest big time. And I think this was in June at the time. It was June 2017. I didn't get the job. So why am I telling you all this if I didn't get the job? I think my interview was so fantastic that a few months later, well, not a few months later, I think on the 31st of December 2017, which is basically, I think, 6 months later, they then emailed me and they were like, "Yo, are you still around?" Because at the time I was like applying for uni places. I was like, yeah, I'm around. What's going on? They're like, "Yo, we want you to try out with us." And I was like, "Oh, okay. What? Oh, cool." And at that time I wasn't like even looking for a job anymore, but the challenge presented itself, and I was like, "Yo, I'll do this," because if I left a lasting impression on these guys, this is probably going to be interesting. And from the interview we had, it just seemed like it was going to be good vibes. So got into it. That's basically how I ended up at Techzim. And so I started in February of 2018. So February 2020 will be my 3rd anniversary. That's that on that.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. Yeah, the stories are amazing, eh? Especially I feel like Shami and Valentine had it easy because I had a torrid time. I had a torrid time finding the address, man, because that's how Techzim was. You would apply, and after you apply, they'll be like, "Oh, okay, cool. Come through to the office," and you'll be like, "Oh, okay. What's your address?" And at that time, the craziest bit was the dude tells me that the dude being the guy who then hired me. But yeah, the dude said,
Is this chicken laughing? Yo, what's happening in the background?
"Hey man, the chicken's having a blast." He's like, "I don't care what you're talking about, man. I'm gonna cluck." so he says, "I know you have an LG G4," and I did have an LG G4, but 2 days before I had sent the email, it had suffered the boot loop issue that was plaguing all these phones, so it was dead. It wasn't working. So I didn't have a phone. So I ended up drawing a map in my notepad and then using that to get to the place. Then the kicker is on Google Maps, the address was there. So it was 30 Marlborough Drive at the time. Okay, we understand it's the afternoon. Anyways, so the so 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 I saw the address and I was like, cool, let me go. But then they had not written the number of the address on the gate. So I think I did like
Yeah, I
five,
remember
six
that.
laps down that street, looking for the place. Up until I then just called them and I was like, guys, I tried. I can't find the number. I'm in this street at this place. And they're like, oh no, you're there. It's a black gate, So yeah, that was, y'all's have it easy. Valentine, Shami. I mean, y'all's have it so easy, man.
You guys didn't get to participate in the treasure hunt.
No, not at all. But just like you, Fari, I was expecting like a really formal interview, like where it's like, what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses and whatnot. And it was nothing like that. Literally, I was waffling. Like, it was so bad. Till this day, I'm shocked that I did the job. Like, I don't even know. I don't remember what I said.
I can really relate to what you're saying, because when you have a script and then something that's not on the script happens and you're like, oh my God, I'm in trouble now.
That's exactly how it was. Exactly like that.
Yeah.
Well, I can say I went into it without the whole interview thing, because like with interviews, the one thing I've always known is that there is no plan. Like, you either know what you're about or you don't. So I went in and like most things I do, I winged it. And I was like, yeah, okay, listen. So luckily for me, it was a case that it wasn't formal at all. So I started talking about the books, theories, philosophy, all that kind of stuff. And I feel sorry for the dude having to listen to that for, I don't know how long that call was, but yeah, it was something. It was fun though, because again, it's an interview where someone takes some interest in what you are about instead of what can you provide. So I found that you feel at home when you're in an environment where no, dude, it's not about what you can do. We're about you, not skills. Will you got the writing, you got everything else, etc. But we're about the person, because that again translates to how well you do your job. So I was an A+ for me for that interview. It was pretty cool.
Well, I guess the mic comes back to you. What's on your mind today?
Guys, I have to apologize to all you. There's nothing on my mind. Nothing at all. Thank you for sharing.
Man, this is your show. We're in your home.
Yeah, I'm the host, so I can decide not to have. Well, okay, I'm sorry. I do have something that has been on my mind. So, well, again, it's gonna be something that's gonna bring the house down. I'm really a party pooper, so I think that I'm used to it by now. So, like last week, I was, when you get that brief moment where you just flick through YouTube, and I was checking through this thing, well, this channel called Windows Productions. There was a notification, and then I just clicked on it. And then he was like, the COVID-19 vaccine is going to be the greatest logistical challenge ever. I was like, okay, right. I wasn't thinking about this, but okay, let's click and watch. So I was like, I opened the thing, and the guy goes in the usual public out stuff, and at that point, most people, myself included, switched off, because it was one of those. I've heard this a million times. I have sanitizer on my desk. I wash my hands, I wear a mask. So it was one of those things that, it's, for me, it was second nature, to the point that I was like, I zoned out up until the point where we got to the actual vaccines and stuff that are available. I was like, okay, right. So this thing's interesting. So it's like, well, the one was the Pfizer, the vaccine that needs to be stored at some ridiculously low temperature. And there's no way to transport it from point A to point B right now, because, the box that they're using, apparently, the box that Pfizer designed for the vaccine can only be opened 2 times a day for like a minute at a time. So like, because that's to be kept at this very cool temperature. And then, that box itself, like, it has to be shipped. The shipping part is the issue, because, we have to go through the cold chain infrastructure, which is basically refrigerated infrastructure all across the world. So it's like, for Africa and for the rest of the world, the most affluent nations, if there's no equitable distribution, it's going to be hard, because, they will buy up the first vials, or the first million, or whatever vials that are going to be available. And then Africa, the issue for us is more, we can't afford it if they don't distribute them. And secondly, who's going to deliver this? How is it going to come? Because our road infrastructure in Africa, I won't say for every African country, but I'll speak for Zim in particular, is not the best. and then cold chain infrastructure investment as well is not the best. So it's going to get to a point where the vaccine is going to be there, but not everybody's going to be able to get it. And then he posed, well, there's a second vaccine by Moderna, which is slightly better, but then again, it still needs to be transported through this cold chain infrastructure. So again, Africa still presented with a problem. And then he said the Pfizer one will be distributed in like big metropolitan cities who have the infrastructure to keep them, although hospitals don't really have that right now. But then, they can build them, just like companies like FedEx and DHL. And all, in the video, he was like, Anzi, they are actually bolstering up and building new facilities in the event that the vaccine becomes available and distributed. So that got me thinking is like, okay, as much as we might think that this stuff is over, it really isn't, because we're only safe when the very last person is vaccinated. And for Africa, my mind was on that tip that, vaccines going to come, so to the ball. But then when you see all the logistical challenges that come with transporting it from A to B, you're like, okay, for us, this might last a lot longer. And I people are worried about, the second wave. I think we might get to a point where, we get into this, we get a second wave, and then maybe even a third wave in Africa, just because not everybody can get the vaccine on time. Again, for everybody listening, this is why I don't talk, because I go on at length. That's my one weakness. I keep going on.
Well, we know. we expected this. I don't think anyone is surprised. But yeah, it is an interesting thing.
In heaps of supply.
For me, well, I wouldn't say like I have much of an opinion. What I would say is just, I'm tired of lockdown and man. Like, I'm a social person. I would like to go out. I would like to start going out again and being with people who I care for and all that. So, but also maybe actually to the point of having an opinion. What do you think? Like, so far, Africa hasn't been like devastated by the virus to the effect that, or at least sub-Saharan Africa is where I get to be confident, hasn't been devastated by the virus to the effect that the other continents have. Do you think that then kind of makes it a bit okay? Like, it becomes less devastating if we get into like the second and third wave. And I know you're not like a scientist or a doctor, but that's what stood out to me. And what do you think about that?
Well, the brief, read I did about epidemiology and public health and all that stuff, it gave me the impression that I think Africa kind of benefits.
Oh no! Wait! This man actually is kind of a doctor. You were studying something to do with yeah.
Almost
okay. Give it to us, doctor.
All right. So basically, this is like 3 years ago when we did epidemiology and stuff like that. So I won't have accurate facts and stuff, but I think Africa benefited from the fact that when it started popping off down there, and they started doing their lockdowns and stuff, we kind of sort of followed suit really quickly. Although our traffic is not as as massive as America and the United Kingdom and stuff like that. Again, this is just me speaking from my opinion. Africa, sub-Saharan Africa, I think was helped by the fact. I think if you look at South Africa's numbers, will show you what if we were as connected as the rest of the world was, Zimbabwe specifically, what we'd be going through, because they've got a crazy amount of cases in South Africa, and they're barely holding on to to the spread of the disease. But I think what will be the problem for Africa is this whole without regard, open up the country. I know financially, Zim, people are informal, we need to hustle to make money. But then again, we need to think about, you can't hustle when you're not there. But then again, you can't talk on someone's point because, someone's trying to find a day-to-day, and that involves them being out there in the streets. So I get that. But if we open up the country too quickly, especially South Africa, which is my biggest concern, is that, we could then hit a point where it's bad. And when saying it's bad, Zim's medical infrastructure, I personally don't think it can cope. And I'll be shocked if anyone, even in the medical field, who's been in there for 10, 15 years or whatnot, can confidently say that we can cope when that happens. So for me, it's a case of Africa has not been hit hard yet. Like we did try, because I think Botswana yesterday, I was reading online, they extended their lockdown for another 6 months. I think that's a smart thing to do. I legit think that's the smart thing to do. I think make a plan while you're keeping your people safe, not make a plan when you have to now double back and then, lock people down again. Because again, discontent for people like Fadi who enjoy going out, the discontent of you get that opportunity to go out and have fun, and then, pops off, and then you have to go back inside again. It's like you get that thing you wanted to just like, 20 minutes. It almost feels like 20 minutes and you have to go back. So I think for Africa, it's a case of yet for the rest of Africa. Although, again, hey, sorry, guys. I go on at length about things. I'm sorry. I apologize. Again, I think another thing that's influencing Africa's numbers, especially Zimbabwe upwards, is testing. I don't think people are being tested extensively enough for us to get accurate data that tells us, you know what, these are the numbers we're dealing with. I think SA is doing a little bit better at that because their numbers reflect that, yeah, it's pretty bad. But testing is kind of shocking because when you see the numbers and you're like, there's been X number of COVID positive cases, and it might be true. I'm not saying it's not. I'm saying it might be true, but I'm saying, you know, if there was a place that, or if there was a program to say everybody gets tested, you can get a test for free if you go there. We'll probably get a better picture of where we're at. But since we don't have that picture, hey, nah, don't open it up, man. Lock for right down.
Nah, I don't want to be locked down, man, because if you lock me down, you're killing me. So that's my argument. My argument is, the thing with lockdown is there are people who genuinely get energy off of like socializing, meeting other people. And when you lock these people down, those people don't function. So I definitely do understand your point, and at least to the point that preservation of life is like extremely important, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I think that the reason why people are just like kind of tired of it all is it's hard to, like, it's not even, for some people, it's not even life they're living. It's like, I'm not going to work, I'm stuck in this house. I don't know if I'm getting the complexity across as well as I think I am, but it's a difficult one. It's a difficult one.
I get what you're saying, because like we people are wired differently. Like personally for me, I don't really mind being shut in. But for people who enjoy, you know, going out there, interacting, feeding off energy, you know, just enjoying a general vibe, it kind of kills it for people, because I've seen most people who are really antsy to jump out. And that's why I'm not surprised that Americans were, you know, some students were throwing parties, people in the streets, no mask on, because people just want to be free. But then again, you have to wait.
Yeah.
Like, you have to look at them like, yo, guys, listen, I can have a party today, and then tomorrow morning, you know, wake up with a cough, and then, you know, go being told you're positive, or wake up with a symptom. Like, cough is generalization, of course. I'm saying wake up with some sort of symptom that indicates that you got it. And then, you know, your whole life has changed simply from just trying to express yourself from that way. I think, personally for me, well, I wouldn't speak for the extroverts in the room, but I'd say, you know, find other things to do. Like, I personally never enjoyed taking walks, but, you know, that kind of, okay, even introverts get stark crazy. We do get to the point where we're like, okay, no, this is legitimately, okay, this is a bit much now. I've been seeing the same four walls for the last 24 hours. I need to go outside. But for extroverted people, I think it's much worse. And I think you're finding other things to do, like things like Zoom and, you know, chill out with the homies. Like,
Zoom,
man, chill out with
who
the homies.
you know is turning up on Zoom.
We turned out, we had okay, this is gonna sound very unprofessional, but we had a little bit of an event, I'll put it that way, on Zoom. You know, guys, your favorite non-alcoholic beverages of choice, you know, sit around, chat, video.
Non-alcoholic.
Hey, no, it was cold, non-alcoholic and cold.
Remove turn up from non-alcoholic.
Those two don't mix.
Don't mix.
Well, let me just segue for a moment. I'm actually curious to hear what Shami thinks.
Okay. For me, it's not. I'm managing. You know, it's not. But again, I'm not on my own. And I think, like, for some people who are on their own, or maybe with older people, it might be a bit of a struggle. I'm managing, and like, we do leave the house. So it's not, obviously we're careful, but we do leave the house. But yeah, no, I manage, because most of the time I do home stuff anyway. So it's not really that bad for me personally. And I've never been turn up? What do you youngsters say? I'm sorry, I'm with Gen Z.
Hey, we're not that young.
Yeah, so for me, no, I've been managing.
No one is gonna, where's the youngsters? Where are they at?
Where they at? I don't see them. Where they at?
No, so yeah, I don't know. It wasn't, I think it was like when it first started, like April, that was bad, because it was literally, yeah, that was because it's like, there was really nowhere to go. You couldn't go anywhere. you know, and everyone was kind of panicky. So even when you were leaving, it was tense. Like, don't talk to anyone, don't look at anyone, don't smile. Like, just let's just go. So yeah,
because you genuinely could turn me into a zombie. Everyone was so tense because you could genuinely turn me into a zombie. You might have it.
That's the thing. Yeah, but I mean, now it's not. Wait, are you guys still like? Are you not moving around in age?
No, I'm moving around, man. I'm moving around. I'm good. I'm not good,
Yeah,
but I'm
and
moving
places
around.
are open, like clubs and bars. No.
Yeah, they open in age because I won't say where I was, but I was in an area where I was in an area where things were popping up. Like I was actually surprised because it didn't seem like anybody was like, you know, conscientious to the fact that we're in the midst of a global pandemic that could wipe us all out. But you know, have fun.
That's the thing. But now my question is like, just my last question really is a second wave guaranteed though? I know it's the trend, right? In general, with most countries, there's always like a second wave or whatever, but it's not definite. It doesn't mean that it will definitely happen.
Ish. As I'm gonna speak on purely just off the cuff, and say we need data. Like data is the best indicator to show where we're at. And like I said before, we don't really have too much of that, or not everybody is tested. Like countries like South Korea, when the pandemic started, were having these drive-through tests where you go, drive through with your car and get the nasal swab, and then they do the test for you. I think if it was done on that scale, then we'd probably have a better picture. This is just me speaking from a personal perspective, that with the data I've seen and with the people I've talked and interacted with, yeah, people need to get tested because some people are getting tested multiple times. Like there's this photographer I follow on Instagram who posts a COVID test every week or so because he has to go around a lot of people and do photo shoots and stuff like that. So that even in America they've got data that kind of supports the fact that where are we at now. In Zim, personally not so confident in the fact that we can say a second wave won't happen. It's the trend, but if we, like I was saying, if we open it up, expect the worst and pray for the best.
It's already open though.
Oh yeah, by the way, yeah.
Schools have opened and they're opening in phases and whatnot. So.
That was a mistake though. Like I get the whole, let's get kids back into school. Let's not hold people's future back. But when I was in high school, I couldn't trust myself with $20, let alone the safety and security of everybody else. Now you're gonna let these guys legit ask them to wear masks and stuff. Yo, bruh, nah. Create a whole.
You'll be fine.
That's what you're saying now. Other two niggas can't come home. Your kids are gonna be petri dishes. I'm telling you this, especially O-level, A-level guys, because they're already done with life because this year was bad, and then you have to go do exams, and they're gonna just throw caution to the wind. And I'm not saying they're gonna do that. This is what I think they're gonna do. They're gonna throw caution to the wind and be like, hey, bro, listen, you only live once, but schools, nah. Oh, the horror. Okay. Let me contextualize why I'm so skeptical. Because when I was in university, Ukraine, there was a measles outbreak, and then they had to shut things down for like a couple of weeks. I think we didn't go to class for a couple of weeks, and that brought me to the whole, that these things are real, and those guys were legit seriously serious about it. They were like, nah, you guys can't come. There's not in the outbreak. I think it was at the time when they shut.
Yo, did you say measles?
Yeah, man, measles. I think it was 20.
In Ukraine?
Yeah, Ukraine, bro. Ukraine, remember?
That sounds scary. Sounds scary.
Scary as well, man. Because remember.
No, but it did happen.
Yeah, because
I still remember, like when I was in high school. Was it in? I think it was in 2009. Yeah, around 2009. I remember we got vaccinated for like H1N1, that swine flu thing when it came through. Then we also got vaccinated for oh man, is measles gwirikwiti, but yeah, one of those. We got like.
You know what to love?
So, Shami, did you also live through a measles outbreak?
Not through measles. No, ours was lice.
That's what that's a really.
Yeah, and no one was worried. No one cared. People were still all over each other. No one, like it was. I was like, "Are you guys not scared?" Like, No one cared.
No,
Not even a bit.
like, where were you? Were you guys in like boarding school?
Well, for me, it was boarding school. I don't know the other guy.
Yeah, every time I said Ukraine, what about Shami? Yo, this is crazy.
Where were you, man?
Station. Oof. That must be crazy.
Where the people who weren't going through measles and lice were. That's where I was.
No, but technically you lived through a global pandemic because HIV has been around since the 80s. So you technically lived through something. Well, not technically, definitely lived through something like that.
80s.
HIV, man.
80s, I was.
It's still there.
80s, my parents were like 10, man.
But it's still there though. It's still a problem. So you can say you did live through it.
And now I have a proper pandemic. Oh, not that HIV is not proper. Like like we lived through like proper like COVID. Not that is a good thing.
But it's a story to tell your kids when you're older. Like y'all didn't see anything. We were locked down. We washed our hands like nobody would believe, man. Like hygiene just became such an interesting part of your life. Like there was a meme that said, "What are you gonna tell your kids about 2020?" And the guy was like, "We washed our hands a lot."
Yeah, my kids are gonna think that I was the Chuck Norris of my time.
Yeah, you're gonna be spicing the story.
I'm already planning it. I'm writing it down, making my mental notes.
Yeah. All right. I think we may have time for one more thought. I'm picking Shami again because she's been too quiet.
No, I'm good, man. We've done close to an hour. I'm perfectly fine now.
All right. Shami, you got anything else, or can we sign up?
I think we can sign out.
All right.
We got work to do.
Oh yeah, by the way, it's work day. I keep forgetting that. All right, guys.
You know?
Right, Shami, Edwin, it was good having you guys on. We're gonna do this as often as possible because we rarely get to talk like this at all. So this was fun. So I'll let you guys sign off individually. Valentine, saying goodbye.
All right, peace. Talk to you next week.
I was literally waiting for Fanzo to go in second. well, whilst we're at it, this is Ed. You're just gonna see me in the next video. So yeah, see you there. Subscribe to my channel.
It's our channel, Ed.
No, it's mine. I make the videos. Our channel.
All right, and this is Shami. Bye.
Oh, you heard from them, guys. So see you again around about the same time next week. Peace out.